think it goes without saying. We all know Denzel was one of the best to ever do it. Um, I think his walk is probably the most iconic. As a student of the craft, I do appreciate his facial expressions, little things he does, the decisions he makes. But I think he's genuinely, he just exists in his own space. You know what I'm saying? And let's just go through the scene real quick. All right, let's do that. So I like that. So he comes out. You know what I'm saying? He got the swag of just being a boss. He's surveying the environment. He's looking around, and then he realizes in that facial expression and that breath that, oh man, shit is real right now, right?
The most important thing in business is honesty. I got to.
The most important thing in business is honesty. I wish they would have gave a little more, gave him a little more time to show his acting skills. During that scene, he's talking to his family and he's explaining the importance of having a structure and having organization, right?
Celebrities. I got sports figures.
I got celebrities. I got sports figures, right? So he's speaking with confidence. He's ultimately playing a game of chess, right? Look at his facial expression. He's trying to convince the other person that, look, I'm good. This is what I got. What you got?
I got Harlem riches.
I got Harlem. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I got this.
I took care of Harlem. You don't know
Okay.
me anything. I owe you.
So I noticed he does a lot of once he speaks and he says something with emphasis is a head, you know what I mean, posture movement. Like, this is what I am. This is why I do it. This is what you need to understand. Like it's, he's speaking as his head is moving. His head is emphasizing his words, and then he does this thing.
You're the champ, son. You've beaten everybody who was beating you. I salute you. Gary, if you want to play on this football team, you answer me when I ask you, who is your daddy?
So now I'm paying attention to the vocal inflections, how he's whispering. He's close, right? This scene is tense because this is a racial film. Remember, The Titans, one of my favorite from Denzel. And he's letting them know, look, I'm in charge. And then the emphasis comes in when he's whispering. Who's your daddy? You understand? You better answer me when I talk to you. Who is your daddy? You understand? So what he's doing is an emphasis. It's less because the camera's not really on his face. We're getting a side profile, but we are hearing the vocal.
La iglesia dice que hay que perdonar. Forgiveness is between them and God. It's my job to arrange the meeting.
So again, in this scene, he's looking down, right? So he's preoccupied with that weapon, but his tone of voice, forgiveness between him and God. It's up to me to arrange the meeting, right? So it's the emphasis on how serious he is and how focused he is.
We're out of the ground. We would take
another one of my favorite movies. So right now, obviously, his hand is in his pocket. He's preparing himself, right? He's sizing up the room. He's looking around, and he's speaking in a manner of confidence and also almost kind of trying to warn you.
From the dust we are.
So he pulls it out. The shoulders, right away. He ducks down to pull it out for emphasis, and then the shoulders, like, I'm ready. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's up. When you watch Michael Jackson, right? It's like, boom, I'm here, right? Emphasis almost of a heartbeat of I'm ready, like giving your body that jolt.
To the dust we shall return.
So to the dust we shall return. So again, he's almost whispering. There's a grimace on his face where he's like, I'm ready, right? But it's poetic too. The actual words, to the dust you shall return. So he's already envisioning and visualizing where he's about to send these people, like a warning.
In my home.
So Denzel. So in this moment, there's almost a innocent flirtation, right? His head is down. He's not really looking. He's, in my humble opinion, right? Like So I don't recall exactly what happened prior to the scene, but judging from his reaction, it's almost as if he's talking to a superior, right? Because his body language his eye contact is not directly on him. He's looking down and smiling, almost to be, humble and sweet. but also to still express itself.
Humble opinion in the nuclear world.
Okay, so he goes from, in my humble opinion, and then he shifts over when the grimace changes. He's not smiling anymore. So now he's talking about something serious. My humble opinion, he smiles, the humility associated with the smile. My humble opinion, in a nuclear world, right? So he goes from my humble opinion in a nuclear world, right?
True enemy is war itself.
The true enemy is, so I love that. I love the transition from the smile down to my humble opinion. The true enemy is war itself, right? So there's a humility, softness, and a seriousness and a directness transition in those few seconds.
When I do best, I'm going to kill him.
I want to kill him. So again, I notice I'm starting to see that with him. He uses that whisper to communicate seriousness. I'm going to kill him. You know, it's like when he said, listen to me. I'm your daddy. Who's your daddy? Huh? Right? So I notice he uses that whispering to emphasize power almost, right? There's a whispering, like, listen, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not the one. Like, he's warning you. He's not trying to let everybody know. And he's saying it close enough and so you can hear it. Like, I'm not the one to fuck with. You understand?
Anyone else involved, anybody who profited from it, anybody who opens their eyes at me. Come on, don't.
Anybody who's involved, anybody who profited from it, anybody who opens their eyes at me. So there's not much going on in those scenes, right? There's just, I'm noticing just the inflection. He's keeping a serious face. He's Denzel at this point. We know who he is. But this scene, he's way more expressive. You see that? He's squinting the eyes. Don't play. So now that's almost anger, right? He's communicating anger. That's what I'm seeing so far.
Bullshitter.
Don't bullshitter. Don't bullshitter. Right?
You planned every inch of this thing right from the start. You got everybody marching to your beat, including me, and I'm through buying it.
So that scene was all about frustration and anger, right, to some degree. Don't bullshit. Like I recognize, don't bullshitter. So obviously the emotionality is frustration and anger, right?
Greek mythology, the Titans were greater even than the gods.
Greater even than the gods. So this is not a scene about his face as of yet. In Greek mythology, they were even greater than the gods, right? So notice how he emphasized gods.
They ruled their universe with absolute power. Well, that football field out there tonight, that's our universe.
Well, that football field out there tonight, that's our universe. That's what we control. That's what we run.
Let's rule it like Titans.
Let's do it. Let's do what we're supposed to do.
I use the money for my kids, all right?
So he's blinking his eyes. I use that money, like I'm admitting something. I use that money for my kids, right? So it's a weak moment, and he's admitting to doing something wrong and why he did it, right?
To pay my children's tuition.
So he's whispering, right? He's not whispering, but he's blinking his eyes a lot, and he's admitting something that's a vulnerable point for him.
A 17-year-old and a 19-year-old daughter. And I use the money to pay for their college tuition, right?
So again, now he says it again, and then now as he's saying it more, he goes from kind of humility part to the sadness, breaking down. I used that money. I used it. I used it. Like he gets more emotional. He starts to go from just, damn, I'm discovered, and have to confess to, damn, like I'm emotional about how vulnerable I am in that space.
Right. For the first time in my life. Free.
So he said, for the first time in my life. Denzel emphasizes his vocal inflections. It's like, for the first time in my life, I'm free. So I don't see him doing much with his face here to express freedom. It's just this straight face, and I would think that he would do a little more. For the first time in my life, I'm free. Like a smile, something to kind of show what freedom feels like, right? To me, freedom doesn't feel like that face.
See, writing is a weapon, and it's more powerful than a fist can ever be.
Writing is a weapon. It's more powerful than a fist can ever be. Right? So again, the whispering almost.
You speak louder, Captain
Freedom
Whitaker.
Marquez did not drink the vodka.
he goes with the blinking again. Trina Marquez did not drink the vodka. So I'm noticing that too with his blinking.
Because I drank the vodka. Yeah.
Again, Trina Martinez did not drink the vodka. Because I drink the vodka. Right? So I'm noticing that. Again, Alonzo, one of his greatest roles. We all know that. Right?
Truly effective, a good narcotics agent must know and love narcotics.
So there's a condescension in his voice. Almost like, to be good at this, you must know this and be actually good at that. Like he's almost speaking from a place of authority where he's like, I'm in charge. I know what I'm talking about. Like he's gotten on his you know what I mean, box, whatever they call those soap boxes where you stand up and preach.
In fact, a good narcotics agent should have narcotics in his
narcotics, right? Narcotics. So he's explaining something that he knows is bad, but he's trying to do it in a way that's convincing. So pay attention to how he's in the scene. He's driving a car. While he's trying to roll weed, pay attention to what's happening and communicate to the officer in the front seat.
What? I promised someone that I love very much that I would never go back to being that person.
So again, the voice, and as much as I love Denzel, I'm starting to notice his choices and how maybe he could have done things a little bit different. I know I would have done things a little bit differently. To me, every word means something. And I'm a visual person, so I'm seeing the visualization as it's happening. So as he's talking about someone who meant a lot to him, maybe he's a little angry, but I'm starting to see that stoic face with him. But he's Denzel. We got used to it.
But for you
see that? It's like he's almost pondering, thinking about what he just said. I promised someone I really love that I would never do this again. You see that moment, that second to process is powerful because there's power in silence. But for you, I'm gonna make an exception. Right? So I would do something like that. I would make an exception. And I'd probably lift my eyebrows to communicate, like I'm done saying what I'm saying right now, but yeah.
I'm gonna make an exception. I hear about
he again with his make an exception. He speaks into his dialogue, and when it's powerful and he's almost done with it, his head is part of it. So again, we're starting here. It's a good movie of his as well. I love almost everything Denzel does because he's Denzel. You know what I mean? I fell in love with Denzel and Malcolm X. Like it was it. As far as I'm concerned, Denzel was Malcolm. So now look at the seriousness in his face. Like he knows that the weight of what the judge is about to say is powerful, and it can change big time his life. So what are you about to say? So he's squinting his eyes. He's very serious.
By order, Reuben Carter, released from prison.
Woo! So it's the moments. And I'm starting to see that with you, Denzel. Starting to see that with you. So he knows how to take those moments, and it's like he's squinting his eyes, and then suddenly he could relax them. Like all those years, all that time is over with. And then he takes that moment. Yeah, Denzel. And he comes back. You know, like almost like all the tension leaves his face. He's in the moment, and it's almost like someone has to wake him up. He's just sleeping. He can't believe it. Back to this scene. Okay? So he's speaking in a way where he's lecturing, right? Like, I'm the boss. I'm going to tell you how it's going to be. But he's also displaying. He's showing. He's presenting. It's probably the best way. While he's talking to them like that, he's showing them, hey, this is what I'm saying, but I'm about to back up what I'm saying.
Somebody.
You're somebody.
You're nobody.
Or you're nobody. And you look to the side. You know, he's showing what he's thinking, what he's about to do. I'll be right back. I love that politeness. I'll be right back. You know what I mean? So this scene is another good movie. I mean, Denzel, like I said. So his son, right, he's under distress because he needs to find a way to provide for his son who's dying. So he's doing something he wouldn't usually do. So there's distress in his face. Like, I don't want to do this, right?
His son is very sick, and he needs some help.
Okay, good. So I'm starting to notice that too. And he needs some help. So I'm going to incorporate that, Denzel. Thank you for that. In my acting, in my film, I'm going to do that. I'm going to use that. Do you not understand what I'm saying? What about it don't you get? right? And then he does the head shake too, like this is what it is. You hear me?
I served my time in a house of justice, and yet there's no justice for me.
I serve my time in a house of justice, and yet there's no justice for me.
What you see, my brother?
So again, the eye contact. I noticed that to express humility, he drops eye contact as if there's fear or what did I just do or I don't want to offend, right? So the eye contact, Denzel's present, but so now almost like a means of distraction and keeping his focus on what he's doing. I'm not trying to offend you, but
Yes and no.
goes back to the eyes again, because there's a seriousness with Denzel. Like, oh, I didn't mean to do this, right? Again, to me, that was a distractionary thing. I was like, oh, like, and then, like, you see what you just did? Now what?
If we don't come together,
We don't come together. Like, in his mouth, I'm seeing the tension here. If we don't come together, it's almost like he wants to bite something out of anger, right? So there's an anger I'm feeling from this scene and a seriousness where he's almost desperate, where he has to communicate this and a verge of losing his own, temper.
right now on this hollow ground.
Right now, on this hollow ground. Again with the whispering. I'm telling you, I'm hacking you, Denzel. I'm taking the whispering. I'm taking the head nods. You know what I mean? I'm using it in a whole dropping the eyes.
We too will be destroyed.
We too will be destroyed. Head down, head nodding.
Come on, General, you lost, man.
Come on, General, you lost, man.
I've lost, man, but you can't do this. What if what they really want is for us to hurt you?
They go, okay, here we go with the anger. And I'm starting to see something I didn't see in the last few videos a lot. And maybe because this is when he was younger. I don't know if he's gotten older and he's gotten a little less expressive in the face. Because when you get older, you typically, it's not new, right? So when you're younger, you're a little more expressive because it's like, you got the energy, plus it's still new to you. You get a little bit older, so.
Children in the stadiums like we're doing, and put soldiers on the street and have Americans looking over their shoulders. Bend the law, shred the Constitution just a little bit.
So he used his hands. I like that. Bend the law. So and he showed the twisting point. Bend the law. Shred the Constitution a little bit. Raising his voice. All eyebrows. He's angry now. Now he wants you to understand. Come on now. If we do that, how are we different than the people who did it before? Like we're not the same as them. We have to be different. Like so, it's the expressiveness in the eyes, right, and the body language. So this scene is a powerful one too. He plays a very what's the word I'm looking for? Very calm, tranquil person who's kind of accepted the fact that he's had to do all these years in prison and has come to realization that he may never leave. So now he's at a point where he's just calmer, right? And that's what I mean when I say a little bit older, because you just accept things. The younger you want to fight things, the older you get, you're just like, this is what it is. I can't do much about it.
Hate put me in prison.
There's the whisper again. Hate put me in prison. Love is gonna bust me out. There you go with the head. There you go. I got you, Denzel.
It's gonna bust me out. Done some bad things in my life.
So now he's a little older in this scene.
Things I'm not proud of.
Things I'm not proud of. There you go with the head nod.
Think that you better than them? You ain't no.
You think you better than them, right? The hands, the smug demeanor. He's still trying to convince this dude.
Better than none of them other cops. In fact, you the same as them.
In fact, you the same as them. In fact. So right off of Malcolm, I noticed there's certain things he say. So I'm assuming they give him the flexibility in the script to be able to do certain things, but he repeats certain things he's said other times. In fact.
You are them. Let me ask you this. Do you really think that putting me behind bars is going to change anything?
Okay, so his decision, do you really think that put me behind bars? I'm assuming, judging from that, his level of seriousness, he's conveyed that to his hands, his head is a little slim. Do you really think that putting me behind bars is going to change anything, Richie? People are still going to smoke. People are going to still need to get high. Putting me behind bars is not going to change much, right? So you got the head tilt, you have the seriousness in the voice, almost the smugness, and an attempt to convince.
You think you can do this to me?
Woo! So we all know this scene. You think you could do this to me? You think you could put me behind bars? Man, I have you like trying to convince man. Now he's losing his power in this scene. He's been shown to be vulnerable, and out of desperation, like any wild animal, he's trying to find any way to leverage himself in the scene. Look at that. You gonna do this to me? Everything. His face, his mouth, his
Me? You motherfuckers!
There we go. So now he's in a position of, you motherfuckers. So up, down. I will pull you down. You're here, I will pull. Basically echoing where he feels. He was here, and in this scene, he's pulled down. He wants to bring them with him.
Playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get finished with you.
So he goes back. He goes into eye. Look, he's still scared, right? Voice raised, but he's still afraid. Eye contact, still trying to maintain control.
Captain, I cannot concur.
Here we go with the whisper. Captain, I cannot concur. Softness. He has to speak power softly in an attempt to not offend.
Repeat my command. Sir, we don't know what this message means.
So his voice is getting a little more serious. He whispered it, and then the supervisor didn't get it. So he's still trying to explain his position.
A target package could have changed.
He squinted his eyes. I like that. Okay. The target track is
You repeat this order, or I'll find somebody who will.
So now he's raising his voice.
I don't know you won't, sir.
Ooh. So now there's a level of confidence. Oh, no, you won't, sir. Right in his eye to a superior. Whew. So this is a moral stance. Right? This is I'm right and I know it, and I'm not going to bend here. Right? So again, he shakes his head. I don't, which makes sense to me. I don't. If I'm going to say don't, body language, right? 90% of language is nonverbal. So he's going to go body language with this. No, listen, I don't want no trouble. He's going to keep it whispered. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time.